Well, hello, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to our study of life under the sun. What Kohal has been disturbing us a bit. And as I said from the beginning of this study, many look at his words as not inspired, not of God, just the musings of a man, because, in part, he doesn't seem to focus enough on God and having a relationship with Him. Except, I hope I've proven at this point that, on the contrary, that's exactly what he's doing. In a different, more provocative way, but still, he is calling us to turn to him, as he will do again in our little section today. 3 little verses. We are exploring the cavern of wisdom, life under the sun, that started in chapter 7. And when we get to chapter 8, it was all about life under human authority, where we are called to obey and to also have some kind of discernment. Yet, once more, it doesn't give us all the answers because of death. Because it can't take away that reality. You might be a good citizen, you'll still die. It's under this notion of a heaviness that we move on to one other little heaviness on the part of Kohal. Because we're still kind of wondering, okay, what do I do then? What's the answer? If wisdom and obedience doesn't help fix the havel of death, what do I do? Well, he's going to help us now. He's going to start, like I said, with some heaviness and say, because the sentence against an evil deed is not executed speedily, the heart of the children of man is fully set to do evil. This has been the message of the entire Bible, from Genesis all the way into Revelation, right? Because there's no judgment, no punishment, because it's not quick enough, hard enough, people go completely off. And we've seen it throughout history, even to this day. I live in Canada, where we are soft on crime, honestly. We don't want to really punish people. We think that's wrong. We think that people are naturally good. It's society that made them evil. And if we could re-educate them, they'd be good again. So, no big punishment. And so here's God, who says, on the contrary, man's heart is evil. And then when he does evil, you must punish him, or he will continue to do worse and worse evil. So like I said, up to this point, we're saying, yeah, it's the reality of the world. Kohelet is right. But what do we do, though? We're still wondering about that. He's going to tell us. Though a sinner does evil 100 times and prolongs his life, yet I know that it will be well with those who fear God, because they fear before him. A few chapters ago, we saw Mr. Mega Blast. Remember that man that seems to have everything he could want under the old covenant. Long life, children, everything in possession. And yet he's missing that element God. Right? There's something there. Well, now we're meeting up the supervillain. One who doesn't just do evil, but nobody's stopping him, so he does worse and worse things, and nobody can kill him now. He's becoming vulnerable, if you will. But even though this supervillain is taking over the world, we are still called to find our joy in fearing God. There it is. This end of be well, it's really rejoicing, being at peace with fearing God. So that's the answer. This fear, respect, trust, obedience, it's all connected together under the rubric of fearing God. And why? Because he fears him, which is kind of circular reasoning. It'd be like when we say the Bible is authoritative and the only true revelation of God because the Bible says it is. It's maybe circular, but it's true. Same here. They will be happy fearing God because that's the joy itself. It is in fearing, trusting, submitting to God. See, again, he keeps trying to show us where is that hope. He's been showing us what God does to give us that palpableness. Now he's showing us our part. We are to fear, trust, and submit to God. Yet, not everything can go right. Yeah, as he closes up, he's going to say something like this. But It will not be well with the wicked. Neither will he prolong his days like a shadow, because he does not fear God. Fear before God. This supervillain that seems to succeed all he wants will one day have to give an account. And his lack of fear of God will get him great consequences. This brings us back again to the Psalm of Asaph, who saw the wicked prosper and was wondering how could this be until he thought about what comes after. That's when he realized there'll be consequences. See, again, Quab, in a subtle way I believe, he is pointing us to what comes after, trying to provoke us and make us think about afterwards. As I said before, I really believe one of the functions of this book is apologetics. It is a defense of the faith. It is a call for other people of other beliefs to realize Yahweh is the only way. Like the Queen of Sheba, who came to visit Solomon, and others, great philosophers that seem to have also been in his court. Every time they would maybe challenge him about the reality of their world. You say your Yahweh rules the world, not just your little country. But my country's not doing well. And what's Solomon's answer to that? You need to fear God. Forget about what's going on around you. You need to fear Him. See, I hope you've seen so far how all of these 3 little verses are focused on one person, God. Because even in verse 11, when it talks about this evil being left rampant, yes, it is a fact that the human governments aren't getting involved, but there's in a sense also God is permitting it. See, our atheists and hard-hearted people who fight against our gospel message, who say, look around you, look at all the evil going on. If God is so good and powerful, why doesn't He stop it? They do have a certain point. We can't say, no, that's man. It's still God permitting it. It's still His sovereign will being done. But the call is still the same though. You need to fear, trust, submit, and obey Him. Don't look around you. You need to be made right with God. Because ultimately, these evil people will get what they deserve. But did you make right with God? That's the point. Even as believers, when we try to do the right thing and it doesn't seem to always work out well, stuff seems to get in the way sometimes. You raise your kids in the ways of the Lord and they still go astray. Well, that can start hardening our hearts, making it bitter and questioning God. I did, you didn't do. Because again, shouldn't things happen a certain way? But the answer is still the same. You fear God. Submit, trust, and obey Him. The call is always the same. So here, God's saying something that we know the Bible is saying. You know it is God's message. No matter what's going on around you, you, before the Lord, are called to trust, obey, submit, and fear Him. No matter what. He'll deal with the rest, but you before Him. May this simple message really speak to our hearts. Dear brothers and sisters, be blessed.